This is the marketing and exclusive right to sell agreement. This is, as you can see over here on the left side, a pretty lengthy form. There is a lot of jargon in here, so I'm really just going to cover the main points that I think are most important. Of course, I would suggest you read through the whole thing and know what you're signing. Reach out to me if you do have any questions, but I'm just going to go over the main things that I normally have questions on with clients. So first off here, we have normal facts about the property that we're going to be stating. A big thing, obviously, that we will normally see is non-discrimination. I'm just going to read this verbatim. The parties understand and agree that it is illegal for either of them to discriminate against any prospective buyer or lessee on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, ancestry, age, marital status, physical or mental disability, familial status, pregnancy, sexual orientation, including but not limited gender identity, military status, unfavorable discharge from the military service, order of protection status, an arrest record, or any other class protected by the Illinois Human Rights Act. The parties agree to comply with all applicable federal, state, and local fair housing laws. This is very important, just something to keep in mind. We will actually circle back to that as we get to something later. This is just saying how long of a term this agreement lasts for. My usual thing that I suggest to people is about 3 months. We can always extend it, or obviously if something happens where you want to pull out of contract completely, or agreement with having me as your agent, we will also figure that out as well. We have your marketing price. We have if you would like to offer a home warranty. I always say that's something that probably not to do right now, but that could be something that is talked through with attorneys once we start to go under contract. Compensation. This should be an area that we have probably already talked through. Compensation is always, always, always negotiable. So that's the very big point. Like I said, we should have talked about this in person, but this is going to go through all of the compensation. Just know that, like we said, it is negotiable. So part of it can be negotiated as a part of the contract. I also want to look at down here the protection period. This is an area where I will often fill in 30 days. This is just something that protects me as your agent. It's really just saying that I can't work for you for the certain amount of time, bring in people to see your home, do all the advertising, and then as soon as our marketing date runs out, you go and find the last person that I talked to and sell the property yourself, not having to give any sort of commission. So like I said, I usually just do a 30-day period. It's not really anything I'm usually worried about with my clients, but just something for you to be aware of. This right here refers to paragraph number 3. Seller grants permission for real estate agent licensee who is not a participant is divided in paragraph 3 to access the property for purposes of showing. I would always say yes for this, unless special cases, just to say, yes, we want as many people as possible to be able to access it. It does say that they do have to have a licensed real estate agent. Right here is an area that we're going to have filled out. You're really just going through and saying what is going to stay within the home. What are you going to be offering as the seller? We'll put other items there, items not included in there as well. We continue to move down here. We have the seller's designated agent. That would be myself. And then if we move past over here, possible dual agency. I personally do not agree with dual agency. If you don't know what that is, that basically means that I can represent you as the seller, but I could also represent a buyer as well. I do not believe that this is fair. Some people do, some people don't in Illinois. I personally just don't think it's in the best interest of you as the seller. So if I do have a buyer that I have that's interested in your property, I will not say no to that buyer, but I will instead pass them on to someone from inside my company, so they can work with, and that way I think that just works fairly on both sides. So both of you are represented correctly. So here, like I said, I don't want to ever do dual agency, so we're always just going to do that you do not consent to me being a dual agent. So here we have the seller direction regarding multiple or competing offers. This is just saying if I am or am not authorized to disclose existence of competing offer to other potential buyers. All this means is, say we do get some offers and we have other agents coming to us and saying, hey, I would like my buyers to put in an offer. Are there other ones out there? I would always suggest that we say that I am authorized to give that information. Most of the time, when people know that there are other offers, they will come up with better offers to hopefully beat out the other ones. So I think it's actually in your best interest to offer that. This one here is something new that kind of came about during COVID, especially where sometimes, people are looking for places out of state. And so this is offering the opportunity for those real estate agents to show a house with video recordings with additional photos. I personally think that this is very helpful for them. Like I said, if they're coming in from out of state looking at houses, I do believe that this is going to be in your best interest. This is buyer offer letters. We have something that often called, you may have heard of, love letters. And really that is some real estate agents, if there are multiple offers on a house, they do suggest that their buyers write a sort of letter to the sellers to say, hey, this is why I think you should choose me. This is why I would be a great fit in this house. Personally, I do not like this because, as you can see here, sellers need to consider that accepting letters may expose sellers to a claim of discrimination. You never know what can be involved in a buyer love letter. I think it's better to just say no love letters, no offer letters, you're not interested, and that way we don't even have to worry about any sort of discrimination laws coming after us, anything like that. Let's look down here to office website policy. You can read through this whole area right here, but this really just says I do or do not want it displayed on the internet. I would always say yes. That's where we're going to get most of people looking at the properties. Property address displayed, yes, they need to know where it is. So I would always say I do. I would say I do not give permission for comments or reviews on my listing. I just think this isn't helpful. People can write false things about your listing and you might not be able to get rid of them. I do not want an automated estimate of value on the listing. Oftentimes these are not helpful in any way. Let's move down to title, insurance, and survey. Right here, we have 3 different options for you to choose from. We have the first one, seller requests that blank provide the title, insurance, and related services as stated above, or seller's attorney will make the necessary arrangements, or seller authorizes brokerage to order title, insurance, and services related. Most of the time, we're going to want this one. You're going to be working with an attorney. They're used to doing it. They're going to do the best job. Right here, we have disclosure information. This is going to go alongside some of the other paperwork that we have looked at. If we move down here, this is very important information for you to know. If you are not sure, feel free to contact your attorney and they'll be able to look things up for you. Goes along with that, taxes and assessments. If you do not know if you are in a special assessment zone, you probably are not, but it's a good idea to contact your attorney as well. We have earnest money. My brokerage personally usually holds the earnest money. Sometimes there are other policies taking place, but most of the time that will be the case. Okay, we come to the end. I think it's also important to take a look at 32. Otherwise, we're going to need signatures and information down here. Those, I think, are the basic things that we need to talk through on this. Like I said, if there's anything else that you need to cover or go over, please feel free to reach out to me.